Hi, I'm Keith Daffrin with Vexus Boats. I'm here with my buddy Jay Kumar, and I get the chance to show you guys a little bit about our new VX lineup of fiberglass boats. We introduced these here at the Bassmaster Classic, and there's just so many new features. You know, I run the risk of taking too long, but I think while I'm outside the boat, it's important for you to look and realize that we really took a different approach all the way from prop to prop. And that begins with the running surface. We completely digitally redefined our running surface. It's a deeper V. You're going to find this boat performs and rides much better than anything else in the market. But in addition to that, the construction method's different. We use infused composite construction. Every piece of fiberglass was vacuum infused on this boat, and what that means to you as an angler is that it's stronger, it's drier, and it's faster because of that. What that means to us is we've got a cleaner work environment for our employees. They're able to build ISO certified hulls because of this process. In addition to that, you'll immediately notice the color differentiation. That's because we're using a hard case automotive style paint. No longer do we have a gaudy flake or an old gel coat color that would fade or crack over time. In every single lab test and real world test, this automotive hard case paint outperforms gel coat or polyflake. That also gives us an endless array of colors to choose from for anglers. So I joked with somebody over, if you want a boat to match your wife's nail polish, we can do that with these VX and DVX fiberglass fishing boats. Underneath it, we're custom building the trailer right alongside it. Even the fenders themselves match, but I particularly like this little box that we integrated into the front step. Great place if you're going to wipe your boat down at the end of the day to throw a wet towel. Great place to throw an extension cord as you're traveling the country tournament fishing. Lots of different features like that on the trailer itself. Parking brakes included, standard. But before I get off too deep into that, I'd like to get up in the boat and just take a few minutes and talk to you about the features inside of it. So one of the things you notice immediately about the boat is the geometry, the shape. It's so different than anything out there, and that begins up here at the nose. And there's reasoning behind that. This is a pickle fork nose, and this popular in other styles of boats, not necessarily performance fishing boats. We've done that for one main reason, and that's to widen the workstation for you as an angler. So you're roughly 4 inches wider here than you would be if we'd have came with a traditional nose that just conveys or comes together like you see in the past. Also a great place to integrate our running lights. Behind the workstation, you obviously can mount today's big depth finders. You've got cup holders, tool holders, all the different things that come along with that. There's a rubber pad underneath the carpet for comfort. We really tried to build this boat for comfort, and not just here, but all the way through the boat itself. Underneath the front deck, which you'll also notice is raised, it's much taller than you're accustomed to. It makes it great for a shallow water angler. But inside the port rod box, you'll see room. I put 40 rods in this particular rod box and still had room to spare. But one thing I like specifically is this quick draw shelf that's on the side. You know, if you've got a particular bait, maybe it's got a bunch of treble hooks, you can lay it on the side and it's not tangled up in the rod socks of the others. Everything's got a shock. It also has one feature that you'll appreciate later in life is the fact that oftentimes this tang ends up shut and you end up chipping gel coat. So we put a stainless striker plate on each and every lid lock to prevent that from happening. Underneath the front center box is a cavernous rod / tackle storage. You see it with just a handful of rods in it. But the idea was you could put tackle underneath the rods and rods over the top, or put all tackle in. The divider simply comes out with thumb screws, so it's really a versatile box that you can mix and match to suit your own angling needs. I should also mention you can put 8-foot rods in the port, 8'4" in the center, and even 7-footers in the starboard side, which is another large box because we wanted an angler to be able to put his push pole in there. You can just chock it full of rain suits, life jackets, or additional tackle should you want. And while I'm sitting here, this is where a lot of rigging takes place. And so as an angler myself, I've found that oftentimes your carpet's wet and you realize that about 10 seconds after sitting where I'm sitting. So we put this EVA rubber pad on the front lid itself. So it's quick dry, soft to the touch, it's comfortable in the hot summer so you don't end up with heat burns on the bottom of your feet. We also put a drawer underneath the front deck step. It's lit, you notice all the different lighting systems. Big open cockpit, another thing we wanted to do, and by doing that, the way we achieve that is with the fuel being under the floor itself. It's done in the keel of the boat. What that's done is it lowers the center of gravity. That 54 gallons of fuel acts as ballast to help the boat be more stable when it's at rest and you're fishing, and also when you're in rough conditions. Speaking of rough conditions, to me, one of the single biggest innovations are the airwave pedestals that are underneath the driver and passenger seat. You'll see that they absorb the shock of the rough water in addition to the deeper V that we've put in the boat. In between the driver and passenger seat, we've put a fully insulated cooler where it should be. This is where oftentimes where you grab a drink or a snack is in between stops. We actually have a cool box here to put energy drink or energy bars, anything you don't want to get wet but keep cool. The area behind the cooler and the driver and passenger seat doubles as a net storage. So you can put a net on either side behind the driver and passenger seating. And then in the driver's helm itself, both seats are adjustable on a slide. Tilt steering comes standard. Very nice jewelry style steering wheel. It's Italian wrapped, it's polished stainless. This really has a nice look. But one of the features I particularly like is this key fob that I'm wearing. And the reason I'm wearing it is when you're within range, now your digital ignition will start. You can actually hear the motor key up when I hit the button. It also has secondary functions. It's got multi-function switches that can run interior lights, trim on the engine, and just as importantly to me, they're a secondary kill switch. They're not in lieu of the traditional kill switch, but should I fall in, this will kill the motor because it's submerged in water, a grounded water supply. So a very nice safety feature and security feature that we've added to these boats for this year. Moving to the back deck, I'm particularly proud of the live well. So this live well is 22 gallons at normal fill. Has an oxygenator standard, the Venturi air system, but you see these plexi lids with friction hinges that makes culling a breeze, and you can get a quick visual look at your catch throughout the day. But here's the fun part about it, is with one simple turn of a valve from normal to full, in just a matter of a couple of minutes, this will go from a 22 gallon live well to a 35 gallon live well. And it will fill to the rim. And what that does for us is it gives the fish 50% more water, 50% more oxygen, and it takes the slosh out of the live well. So on that long run back to weigh in, oftentimes the overflow is allowing water out. In our case, that does not happen. So we believe we're going to save a lot of fish's lives because of this setup and make more money for the tournament angler with this. We call it an intensive care live well system. We'll do a lot more. We'll show real world statistics and characteristics in the future, but it's a feature we're really proud of. Flanking that live well on both sides is just another big dry storage box. It's got a center drain, it has the striker plate, has a lid shock. You put so much tackle in there. And then at the stern, you've got a typical battery box as you're used to seeing, but one thing you'll immediately notice is that the shallow water anchors on this boat are mounted directly to the transom itself. So what they're not is bracketed to the jack plate. And that's going to prolong the life of your shallow water anchor, and it's a much more aesthetic look without exposed wires or hydraulic tubes on the boat. So the VX20 is rated for 250 horsepower. We also make it in a VX21, a foot longer, that rates for a 300 horsepower. Includes a little bit more storage simply because of its overall dimensions. But regardless, excited to show this boat. It's been, you can probably hear it in my voice, I've done it non-stop for a day and a half already, but it's hard to get tired of showing something like this. So check it out, go to our website, www.vexusboats.com, or any of our social media outlets.